Good day. This is Teutonic Penguin, and today I have a great video prepared for you. Some of you may have noticed from my other videos that I wear a shirt of wedge riveted mail with very large, very baggy sleeves. I call that the wizard sleeve look. It's very common with lower end shirts of mail. So it's been my goal for a little over 2 years now to take those sleeves and tailor them tight to the arm as seen in 13th century depictions. The only problem was I really didn't know how to start the process. Tailoring mail is notoriously tedious and a very difficult process to undergo. So after a lot of research, after a lot of questions of people who are more knowledgeable, and a lot of examining of proper examples, I've come up with a result that I feel confident to share with you guys. I'm going to run through my processes step by step, try to break things down to help some of you if you are looking to undertake this. Let's get right into it.
Let's start with the tools that you're going to need to work with the rings. All I really used was 2 sets of pliers, a good pair of wire cutters, loose butted and riveted rings, and of course the riveting tool, which you can buy at Cult of Athena. To get the ball rolling, I cut open the sleeve at the bottom seam leading directly to the armpit. The way I located that point was I counted the rings from the bottom of the shirt all the way up to the shoulder to determine the true center point. Then, using that reference and the circumference of the sleeve itself, I was able to locate that bottom seam perfectly. Next, I took a strip of riveted mail and measured around my arm in a gambeson by counting the rings. I chose 7 different points along the arm and wrote down the dimensions, making sure to leave a little bit of extra room to get in and out of the garment. This helped map out the taper and made it a lot more accurate. To help visualize, I used colored yarn. Yellow to mark the top center seam leading to the shoulder that I mentioned before, and red yarn to mark the taper. This was very efficient and allowed small adjustments to be made without needing to recount all the rings.
I have all the points marked out on both sleeves now, and they're woven together with a few butted rings every couple rings or so. So this is what it's going to feel like after I trim and connect the seams. There's a couple points I still want to mess with, but overall I think it's pretty good, so getting close.
After a few more test fittings and minor adjustments, once I was 100% certain, I began cutting off the extra material from the sleeve, being very careful to keep things symmetrical in the cut. Then I simply wove it back up using butted rings for the time being.
Before trimming, after. So the only thing on this sleeve that I'm going to need to do is add that elbow gusset, because right now that's about as far as it's going to let me bend, because these rings have a lot of tension right here, because that's where the joint is. So I'm going to cut this and add a triangular gusset that will allow that movement, but still keeping that really nice tailored look. Pretty happy with how it looks, actually. It's tailored to this gambeson, so it could be a little smaller if I had a little less padding, but way better than before. There isn't that awful wizard sleeve look, so. Alright. Both sleeves are trimmed and sealed up completely. So, all that's left is the elbows and the mitts. We are in business.
For the mail mitts, I had a sheet of wedge riveted mail and some old welding mitts that I bought at a garage sale for like $1. I wanted to first make some padded inserts so that they would be safer for steel fighting. So I used some scrap fabric I had laying around and I patterned the shape directly off the original. I took some wool felt and I layered that up and inserted it into the fabric glove. Then I quilted it and sealed up the end, and I was actually pretty happy with the way they turned out. They fit surprisingly well in the glove, so that was great. Next, I hand stitched the mail to the mitt with sinew. I've seen some guys use Maille rings to attach the Maille to the glove, and I've never been a fan of that, so I went with this option, and I was not disappointed. Once they were complete, I simply wove the mittens onto the ends of the sleeves, which was particularly easy because I sized the cuffs of the mittens and the ends of the sleeves the same number of rings so that there would be no issues attaching. Here are some fine examples of the elbow gusset, which I had a particularly large amount of trouble with. I had to do a lot of digging and eventually spoke with a talented Maille weaver who runs a page on Instagram called Ironskin. You may want to give him a follow. He showed me the proper way to form the triangle, which is a triangle with a bit of a flat top, and he helped me figure out the positioning of it, which what I ended up doing was I found the point of my elbow on the sleeve, which was already marked with yarn, and I also positioned it between the two seams, the yellow and the red, if you'll remember, and put it on the back of the sleeve where the peak of the elbow was. It actually worked out very well, so I was very happy with that.
Before the elbow gusset, that's the max amount of movement. After the elbow gusset. So there's a lot less tension in the elbow on this one. You can see the pocket just a little bit. So I'm going to do the same thing to this one. And I'll be very close to finishing.
The last thing I needed to do was to add slits in the palms to allow finer tasks like tying lace or buckling a belt. The style I chose came from the Shrine of Charlemagne in Aachen Cathedral from the year 1215. It shows a carving of a knight with horizontal slits on the palms, which I was a fan of. Finally, I finished the edge of the opening by stitching it to prevent it from stretching, and that was it.
And with that, I've successfully finished tailoring my riveted Maille sleeves. This was my first attempt tailoring Maille in this way. Through many questions, fine examples, and help from my fellow reenactors, I've reached a result that I am proud of. I hope some of you find this video useful in your medieval pursuits. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments. As always, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.